My husband and I were invited to a New Year's Eve party at his father's house. His dad is sick and it's terminal, and according to my husband, this may be his last New Year's Eve celebration with his family. We, the women, were in the kitchen while the men were chatting in the living room. I needed the bathroom, so I made my way out of the kitchen and overheard the conversation my husband was having with his brother, and it went like this. Husband, I want to take you to restaurant's name tomorrow. They make the best dish name in town. Brother-in-law, hold up. I thought you said my name makes the best dish name in town. Husband, was she there when I said it? Brother-in-law, yes. Husband, well, there you go. Laughing sounds. I was stunned and felt absolutely hurt. I turned around, grabbed my bag and phone, and headed out of the house. My husband freaked out, trying to get me to stop and go back inside, but I yelled at him to leave me alone and then went home. This caused New Year's Eve to get ruined, and he argued with me later, saying that this was just some guy talk I wasn't supposed to hear, and that I acted childishly and ruined the party for him, his family, and more importantly, his sick dad. He told me to stop being such a princess and that I was wrong to hear their private convo, let alone overreact like that. Am I the idiot? Everyone's the idiot here. Your husband for trash talking you. There's no privacy when you're at a party, LOL. But your theatrics were unnecessary. You could have confronted him after the party. Instead, you chose to make a grand exit. The two of you need to learn communication and talk your problems out, not freak out at each other. I agree with this 100%. I would just add that her husband is a complete jerk and pretty two-faced. My husband would never talk crap about me to anyone, nor I about him. There's no loyalty here. OP reacted in a very immature way. I would have waited until after the party, then attempted to communicate how hurt and disappointing his behavior was, how I thought I knew him better, and that I was surprised to learn that he thought so little of me, then go from there. She only wanted to make a scene so that everyone would know he had done something. Not the idiot. Oh, what a shame. A man learned that camaraderie with other men, making jokes at the expense of their spouses, may hurt them and make them angry. As a daughter, I always hated this dynamic that I saw during the holidays, and it's so frequent in general in married straight couples, especially older ones. These husbands who make their spouses the butt of a joke behind their backs. This is the key. Laughing about them, not with them, have such stale humor and lack respect for their wives while trying to be bro with the other men. Thank goodness someone's sane. This wasn't a joke that she overreacted to. It was a man deliberately belittling his wife because that's what the cool bros do. It's toxic and it should be shut down. It's so funny that the new excuse is guy talk. It's basically a cover for, I can say anything crass, hurtful, or unpleasant about my partner with no repercussions. Maybe he did lie to you about your food being good, and maybe it's delicious, and so are the restaurants. The real point here is he made you the butt of a joke to make himself look good and said something hurtful in the process. Disagree. You are the idiot, OP. Your father-in-law is terminally ill. This might be his last New Year's Eve ever before he dies. While at a party at father-in-law's house, you overheard your husband joke that a certain restaurant in town makes a certain dish better than you, and your reaction was to storm off and create a huge scene. You completely overreacted. Your husband didn't insult you in any way. He simply joked that a restaurant dish might be better than yours. You sound like a completely self-centered princess who creates drama when there's none. You owe your husband and his family a huge apology because your unnecessary self-created drama ruined a pleasant New Year's Eve that might be your father-in-law's last one, too. My sister, 26, and I, 24 female, were close as kids. We grew apart a little in our teens when her best friend became her bigger focus. Her best friend was not very nice to me, ever. I hated her being around me because she always seemed to dislike me, and more than once she made comments toward me that left me upset, but my whole family loved her. She didn't have a good relationship with her parents, and she was an only child. From the age of 15, she spent most of her time at our house, which often meant I felt out of place. My parents would tell me we'd get closer with time, and she was just struggling with having a younger kid around so much. When she turned 18, my parents adopted her, so she'd have a family legally to fall back on who would be there for her. And since then, she's been treated the very same as my sister and me. My sister loves it, but things between her and I were not improved by the adoption. My sister and I ended up a little closer again, but not like it was before, and not like she is with her best friend. And I get that. Friends can often be the family you choose versus the family you're biologically related to. But it makes it hard for me to do the big family stuff because technically she's now family and I would need to invite her, and not inviting her would be a huge freaking deal. I'm engaged to my amazing fiance, and I found a really good sisterly relationship with his older sister. She's the only girl in their family, and I think she loved the idea of having that sisterly relationship. So when we got engaged, I asked her to be my bridesmaid, my only bridesmaid. My sister had asked about bridesmaids and said she would love to be mine. I asked her if she really wanted to be. She said, of course, that she and her best friend would be the best bridesmaids. I asked her if she'd do it if her best friend wasn't asked. She told me that wouldn't happen since we're all family now, and she's our sister now. I told her she wasn't my sister or my friend, and I wouldn't want her at my wedding. This was when my parents got involved too, and they asked me why I didn't ask my sister. I said I love my sister, even if we're not close like we were, but I wouldn't want her best friend to be a bridesmaid too, and I know they would never be okay with me having just my sister. I think everyone knows what happened from here. They reminded me that she's family and that she's legally my sister now, that it seemed so mean not to ask my sister just because I'd have to include both sisters, and how I'm harming the relationship more than anyone else by doing this. They said it's time to grow up and accept the reality that not all sibling relationships are perfect from day one, but having two sisters is better than having none. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You can invite your sister and not your adopted sister. Only people who have loved and supported you should stand up with you. It sounds like your family's more concerned with optics than your feelings. She has no biological ties to you, was not legally your sister until she was an adult, and was nasty to you. She's done nothing to deserve the honor of being a bridesmaid. Mom and Dad, I love you, and I can understand you wanted to help sister's friend. However, by taking in and adopting someone who so clearly doesn't like me, you've done exactly what her parents did, but to me. I feel isolated from my own family because I don't consider someone who isn't kind to me to be a sister. If you can't understand and respect this, we may need to take some space from each other. Exactly. They included OP in the process of including the friend. They should take their own advice. The reality that she's now your legal sister does not trump the reality that you're not close and don't get along. It's incredibly unfair and unhealthy for your family to force this relationship on you. If your sisters can't be happy for you unless they're in the wedding party, there is something very wrong with them and your parents for enabling that kind of emotional mistreatment. My 19 male girlfriend, 18, got her license about 3 months ago, but last week was the first time I've been in the car with her while she was driving. My car was in the shop and she came to pick me up from work, and on our way back, she decided to stop at a gas station. We pull up to the machine. She looks at me funny for a moment, doesn't say anything, and then gets out of the car and starts pumping her gas. When she got back in the car, I asked her what the funny look was for, and she said, "Really? How do I have a man in the car and I'm the one pumping gas? Because it's your car and you're the one driving?" She says, "Wow, and you're not even a little embarrassed, watching your girlfriend pump gas in the cold while you're sitting in the nice warm car listening to music." I say, "No, I was actually quite comfortable, and if I wasn't here, wouldn't you have to pump the gas by yourself anyway?" She said, "But that's the point. You're here. A woman should never have to pump gas while a man's in the car." My dad, uncle, cousin, brother, nephew, whoever would have never just done what you did just now. I say, well, I'm not them, and I don't subscribe to that. Can we go now? Mind you, the whole time we're having this conversation, she hasn't even started the car. The gas station is filling up with cars, and she's literally hogging a machine. She says, I'm not moving until you apologize. To make it even worse, the guy waiting in the car behind us walks over and politely taps on the window and says, Hey, sorry, are you guys leaving or? She rolls down the window and asks him, if your girlfriend or wife was driving, would you still pump her gas? He says, probably. And she looks at me in victory, and we finally move. She says, seriously, don't ever do that again. I probably should have let it go, but I couldn't. No, if we're in your car and you're driving, you're pumping the gas. She starts going off again until I can't take it anymore. I get out and start walking down side streets to a friend's place. She's following me, calling my name and my phone, but I ignore her and eventually lose her when she gets stuck at a red light. Since last Friday, I've been getting all sorts of angry messages and texts from her friends about how I'm not a real man for not pumping gas. And even my friends were telling me, yeah, man, you should always pump the girl's gas. It's just principle. That whole week was finals week, so I didn't really pay too much attention to what they were saying. But finals ended yesterday, and I'm now home for Christmas. My extended family is all here, so I decided to ask them if a guy should always pump gas for the girl. I'm confused because all the men are saying yes, but all the women say that while they appreciate the men doing it, they can also do it by themselves, even when a man is in the car. They're all still arguing downstairs, and it's getting pretty heated. So I decided to write to you guys to ask, am I the idiot? And should I apologize? It's not idiotic to have expectations in this situation. In my wife and my case, we expect the passenger to pump gas, no matter which of us it is. But though your girlfriend's attitude that gender determines who pumps gas is rather old-fashioned, she becomes the idiot in how she made a public scene about it in an attempt to extract an apology from you. You're not the idiot, she is, and I can't imagine wanting to continue a relationship with Miss Red Flags. Take it as the red flag it is and dump the princess. If you have expectations of your partner, you should communicate them. Don't drag the world into your argument and invite them to berate your partner. It's not about the gas anymore. It's about who she is. I'm sorry, but I'm giving you are the idiot. She did you a favor, and you couldn't return the favor? You make her go out in the cold while you sit in a nice warm car? Manners, dude, manners. Yes, I can pump my own gas, but it's nice for you to do it, and it costs you absolutely nothing to do it. But I'm from the South, and I'm like Blanche from Golden Girls regarding feminism. I don't want to be treated as your equal. I want to be treated much better than you. My ex and I have shared custody of our teen daughter. She has 2 more kids, a young teen female and a male preteen from her current marriage. My daughter's spending this week with her mom. 2 nights ago, she called me crying and said her siblings broke her Xbox. I asked to talk to her mom and told her she needed to buy a new Xbox for her. She refused and told me she thought this was a good consequence for her, as she would play in front of them all day and wouldn't let her siblings touch the Xbox, which is why they took it without permission and accidentally broke it. Last night, I got another call from her telling me my daughter broke the kid's new laptop on purpose. I asked my daughter what happened, and she calmly told me her siblings didn't let her touch the laptop and she accidentally broke it. I told my ex that this seemed right to me. When something gets accidentally broken, no one pays for it, right? We decided on this last night. She blew up at me and called me an idiot and said I know very well that this was no accident. I told her I wished I could pay for the laptop, but unfortunately, I had a new Xbox to buy and hung up the phone. She sent me more messages calling me an idiot and so many other nice words and said that the laptop was a lot more expensive than the Xbox. Am I the idiot for not paying for something that my daughter broke? Not the idiot. Malicious compliance at its best. You literally didn't do anything. You didn't tell your daughter to break their laptop. Your ex established how to handle this situation when she refused to hold her other kids responsible for what they did. The Xbox wasn't an accident either, because they took it without permission. LOL, your ex-wife just realized she needs to follow her rules. Also, it's her own daughter. She's equally responsible for her daughter as her father is, and it happened under her supervision. Makes zero sense why the dad would have to pay. He has nothing to do with anything that goes on at mom's house. Seems like she loves her newer children more. Where are the adults in this situation? Why aren't they teaching their children about respect for each other and their property, about accepting responsibility for their actions, and about paying for what they break? Everyone's the idiot here. You and the ex sound perfect for each other, but unfortunately, your kid also sounds equally awful. I, a female teen, have 3 siblings, a female tween, a male tween, and a younger female tween. My dad also discovered that he had another kid, a teen female, from before he met my mom. He and my mom got married fast. His new kid moved in, and my dad made me share a room with my twin sister, so his new kid could have her own room. Something important to the story is that my dad has a temper. He would never hit us or anything, but he yells and it's scary. My mom has talked to him about it making it hard for us to talk to him or be around him sometimes, and he'd always say he'd work on it, but never did. I moved in with my mom. They're divorced because I didn't want to share my room, and all of my dad's attention was on the new kid. My dad and I still texted and called a few days a week. Finally, he asked me to come over because he had something to tell me, and he wanted it to be in person. When I got there, he told me that he had started therapy, parenting classes, and an anger management thing, and he wanted to let me know because he and I used to butt heads the most. I asked why he chose to do it now, and he said he was doing it for his new kid, but still expected me to be happy about it. We've been telling him to control his temper for years, and now he's only doing it for his new kid. I told my dad he and his new kid could screw off, and I went back to my mom's house. My mom was waiting in the car the entire time. I haven't talked to him since, but he's still calling and texting me. My mom thinks I should be happy that he's finally working on getting better, even if the new kid was the reason, and that maybe I should give him a chance, but I don't want to. Am I the idiot for telling my dad he and his new kid could screw off? Edit. There was an incident with the new kid where he threw a temper tantrum, not related to her, and she freaked out and tried to run away. Not the idiot. What he thought he said, I'm getting better, you should be happy and praise me. What you heard and what he actually said, I'm getting better finally because of my other child. You weren't worth getting better for, but she is. So you should be happy and give me a cookie anyway. Tell him that. Tell him he flat out told you his other child was worth doing the work to get better for, but you weren't. And that hurts. And that just furthers his psychologically abusive behavior towards you. Also, if he honestly wants to get better, he needs to work on his relationship with all of his kids, and not just the new kid, and expect the other kids to be happy that he's slightly less abusive. You'll definitely need family therapy on top of individual therapy. So, Dad had one of his temper tantrums, and the new girl ran away. The caseworker's priority is to get the new daughter into a safe placement and then monitor her at times to ensure she's safe. So, dear old Dad's parenting is being scrutinized by the state. It's probable that Dad is getting money from the state to house the daughter. And those betterment classes have probably been ordered by the court or a caseworker. OP, I'm shocked that your mom is pushing you to reconcile with your dad just so she can go back to having weekends with your kids and not having you with her full time. She doesn't seem like a good parent either. I would look into a grandparent taking you and your siblings, if they want, in, because your dad is putting all his energy into his long-lost daughter while forgetting the rest of you.